Hello my internet peeps, how are you today? This is Scott Rideshare. Welcome to my channel. So today, again, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to vent. I don't vent often, but I'm going to vent about Lyft. Now, when I first started out, I was Team Lyft all the way, okay? I did a video, Uber versus Lyft, on my first channel, and I'll find the link and I'll post it down below. And I also did a video, it's called You're Killing Me, and it's talking about the navigation system, how it kind of works for us drivers. For those of you who are not drivers, so you can kind of understand what it's like. Those of us that are drivers, we know we know how it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post that video down below. This passenger gets in my car and he's pissed off because of what happened with the navigation system. And I turned it around so that, you know, by the end there we were, I don't want to say pals, but he was happy, okay? He wasn't upset anymore. Now, when I started out with Uber, you know, I started with Uber, and when I started with Uber, I didn't get a whole lot of cancellations. Maybe I did some cancellations, but I didn't get a whole lot of cancellations. When I started with Lyft, I started noticing I was getting cancellations, and it was kind of unnerving at first. Now Lyft allows about 2 minutes before a passenger can cancel, before they get charged. And what I was noticing was that it would say in capital letters, it would say Lyft canceled, and then in regular text writing, which was an Autobot, it would say John has canceled your ride. Those aren't the exact words, but it's somewhere along those lines. Lyft was letting me know that the passenger canceled the ride. Occasionally, I would get a ride saying that Lyft canceled the ride. Actually, it wouldn't say Lyft. It would say something along the lines of, unfortunately, your ride has been canceled. It happened rarely. It was very rare that it happened. What did happen quite often was I would like stop at a light, and it would say "Bing, rider updated," and all of a sudden it would say, they would tell me verbally that my pickup address has been updated, which kind of makes it sound like it was wrong before. But I would notice there would be a different name there. And when I picked up the passengers, I would ask them, did anything weird happen with that pickup? Or was that smooth for them? Did they just order it and I just come? Or did something happen? And most of them would say, no, it was fine, nothing happened. Occasionally, though, I would go pick somebody up, and they would say, that was weird. And I would say, well, what was weird? What happened? And they would tell me that they ordered the car, and this is with Lyft. They ordered the car, and they would speak to a person who would say, you know, I'm on the way, I'm at a light, I'm on the way, I'll be right there. And the passenger would hang up, and they were looking for, say, Harry in a black Honda, and all of a sudden Scott in a silver Fusion would show up. And they were wondering what happened, and I'm like, listen, I don't know. I just got the request and came over. Now, with the rider update, where it says rider updated and I got switched passengers, it's my guess that what happened was somebody else closer to the other passenger ordered a car. And they figured that if I get switched over to this passenger and this person gets switched over to that passenger, it would be less of a wait for the passengers. Also, I talked to a lot of passengers about a lot of things. Sorry, so one of the things that I would pick up when a passenger who does ride a lot would say, yeah, here's one of the reasons that I've canceled. I would pull up the app and I would see 5 cars around me, and I would order the car, and it would be a car that was not next to me. You know, it was a little bit further away from me. Now, my understanding of that is that what Lyft always tries to do is they try to match up somebody with like ratings. So if you're a 4.9 or a 5 and I'm a 4.9, which I am, they would try to match us up. And if next to you was a 4.7 or 4.8, they would kind of skip over those people to get us together. That was my understanding of it. And that's kind of how I thought what was going on with all these rider updates and all that kind of good stuff. It had to do with what was going on, who was ordering cars, where the cars were located. You know, if I happened to drive into an area where I was now closer to another passenger and they had another passenger request, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I thought it. Now also, when I first started driving full-time, Uber was about 80% of my take-home pay, and Lyft was about 20%. And then at some point I decided, no more UberPOOL. And I think that was on my previous channel too. I'll post that video down below. But with UberPOOL, I was ending up with the most difficult passengers, with the most work and the least amount of money out of all of what I was getting. Now it's true with Lyft. I would have more work if it was Lyft shared than if it was a regular Lyft. However, the passengers were generally not difficult. It seemed to me that because Lyft was, I've always perceived it this way, that Lyft was a more humane company. So as a result of that, they were kind of explaining things to passengers better. Does that make sense? So passengers were more well informed when they did what they did, whereas with Uber, you know, somebody would pull up the app and they wouldn't even realize they're getting a pool ride because Uber would just default to it. It's very strange. But anyway, I stopped accepting pool rides from Uber. I figure whatever happens, you know. So what happened after that was my Uber dropped, but my Lyft increased. It was almost as if, like, when I was on that Uber pool ride, not making any money, there would be somebody from Lyft, a passenger, requesting a ride, and I would miss it because I had the app turned off because I was on the Uber pool ride. So once I stopped accepting the Uber pool rides, I started getting more Lyft rides. Fine with me. I'm happy with that. If I do 5 miles with Lyft and 5 miles with Uber, I'll make more money with the Lyft. Even though Lyft would charge the passenger less, Uber takes out more. They take out a higher percentage, plus they have the booking fee. So I'm happy with the Lyft, you know, with more Lyft rides, and it became about half at that point. So let me talk for a second about bonuses. I don't really pay too much attention to the bonuses, okay? I'm out to try, there's a certain amount of money I need to make, and I need to go out and just work it to make it happen. To me, bonuses were an addition. It's sort of like, you know, I've got a nice piece of apple pie here, and you're going to throw some whipped cream on top. Well, the bonuses were the whipped cream. You know, I can enjoy the apple pie without the whipped cream, but the whipped cream doesn't make it that much better, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Okay, so they had, Lyft used to have power zones where you drive to the power zone and you get paid more per mile. And they also had the bonuses. One day I picked up a passenger and I'm driving him home, and he mentioned that he's also a Lyft driver. And I had also said I was thinking about just deleting Uber completely. And he goes, yeah, man, do it. He goes, just drive power zones and go for the bonuses. He goes, you'll do fine. And I never actually did it. I was going to test it one day. I was going to leave Uber off for a week and just aim for that for Lyft to see what was going on. But at the time, Uber was about half my pay. If I happen to make $800 in a week, $400 of that was Uber. $400 of that was Lyft. So I wasn't sure that I was going to make that much more money with Lyft. It didn't seem possible. So I never really did it. I was going to do it, but I never got around to it. Well, Lyft got rid of the power zones, and then Uber did something else. Uber raised the rates for passengers. Now, drivers don't get paid more, but passengers pay more. And subsequently, for the first time, Uber's about to report a profit from that. Well, anyway, I noticed that I started getting more Lyft rides and less Uber rides. It was nothing I was doing. I believe it had to do with the rates going higher. People just started price shopping more and noticing more and more that Lyft was cheaper. And of course, word of mouth gets around, the whole 9 yards. So I started getting more Lyft rides, okay, which was fine with me, you know. And it turned into 80% Lyft, 20% Uber. I mean, seriously, Uber would try to make a comeback every once in a while, but it just wasn't happening. So as a result of that too, it was easier for me to make that weekly bonus that they would put up. Now, I'm not talking about the $100 bonus, I'm talking about the $10 bonus, and then I forgot what was after that. I think it was $50 after that. But I was usually on my way to that when the week would end. And if I turned off Uber completely, I would probably make that. The thing was is that, again, I didn't think it was worth it. The bonus didn't pay enough for what they were expecting me to do, in other words. It didn't seem worth it to me. It seemed like they were making me jump through a lot more hoops for a little bit of extra pay. You know, it's like 50 cents extra a mile. It didn't seem right. But anyway, I never broke it down mathematically. I'm not really that kind of person. But it didn't feel right, so I never really went for it. But I noticed that I started making it easier, and I was heading towards the second tier bonus ever since Uber raised their rates. Well, Lyft changed again. They changed the bonuses to a weekly ride challenge. And the first week, easily, I did it. And it wasn't anything I did differently. I just do my regular thing. And I easily made it. The following week, they upped the number of rides I had to make in a week, which I guess that's what the challenge is that each week they up it more. Then I started noticing something else that started about 2 weeks ago. I noticed that I would pull up to a light, and it's a red light now, right? And I would be sitting at the light, and the light would change, and I'd start to drive to pick up the passenger, and all of a sudden it would be canceled. I wouldn't give me any more navigation, and then the text would come in saying, unfortunately, your ride has been canceled, which means it wasn't the passenger who canceled it, it was Lyft who canceled it. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. I wonder why that happened. And then I would get a little pop-up, would pop up on my screen saying that as soon as I get my request, I need to head towards the ride, which is what I was doing. And then it would say, if you are stuck in traffic, to give the passenger a call. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm at a light. I don't consider that being stuck in traffic. I consider it a light. To me, stuck in traffic is when, you know, you're sitting at a light, or you're like in the middle of the block somewhere, and you see the light change 2 or 3 times, and you've moved like 2 or 3 cars. That to me is stuck in traffic. But if you pull up to a light, and the light changes to red, you're supposed to stop. You're not supposed to blow through it. It's not stuck in traffic. It's a light. So you stop at the light, and then when the light changes, you go. I don't know. I don't get it. I didn't know what was going on. It was very weird. But I kept noticing that Lyft was doing that more and more. Uber has now become about half my pay again because Lyft keeps canceling on me. Now, they send us these surveys. I think I mentioned earlier in this video that Uber would send us, both Uber and Lyft would send surveys, and I was always 5s for Uber. I'm sorry, for Lyft. 5s for Lyft. For Uber, at first I was doing 5s, and then when I noticed this problem with the pools, I kept getting more and more pool requests, and I stopped accepting them. I started making it 1, and they give you an option. At least Uber does. Lyft doesn't. But Uber gives you an option to write why you rated them, and I noticed that whenever they made a change, what I wrote or what I didn't like about the company wasn't touched at all. They would always say, yeah, we listened to the riders, so here are the changes we're making. And no, it had nothing to do with anything I was talking about or any other YouTube rideshare person would talk about. I mean, it had nothing to do with what drivers were talking about. I don't know where they got that. We're listening to the drivers BS, but that's what they would say. Anyway, with Lyft, it was always 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. Well, since they started doing this, 1 star. I'm just giving them ones now. They don't give me an option to explain why. I would, but they don't give me an option to explain why. I stopped, by the way, with Uber because they weren't listening to me. So every time they send me a survey, I just hit the one and move on. I don't bother trying to explain it because they're not listening anyway. I would try with Lyft for a couple times if they ever decided to ask me why I rated them as a 1. But I'm rating them as a 1 because they're canceling on me. You know, I would again, if you look at the below video, you'd see what was happening. I'd get at a light, and I would get the request while I'm at the light, and it would say, make a right-hand turn, and I'm in the left lane, which means I got to kind of work around it, which is fine. I don't care. That's a navigation issue. But to sit there and say that I'm stuck in traffic or I'm not going to the ride immediately, I'm at an intersection. Listen, I've had all kinds of passengers in my car, and I've had a passenger tell me that he was waiting one time for 10 minutes where the person was in his complex in a parking lot. He could see the guy's car was in the parking lot, not moving for 10 minutes. And when he spoke to the guy said, oh yeah, I was getting my pants on. So in other words, the guy was in his apartment, he wasn't fully dressed, he turned on the app, and he had to get dressed and go down to his car to get in the car to go get the passenger who was right there. I never do that. I'm always in my car ready to go when I turn on my app. And if I'm at a light, I'm at a light. It's not like I'm changing my clothes. What the hell is wrong with you? So anyway, there was something else I wanted to add. And I'm not sure if I'm going to remember what it was. There was quite a bit. But yeah, now I'm giving them 1 stars. I'm giving Lyft 1 stars as well as I'm giving Uber 1 stars. I'm making more money with, well, I don't want to say more money because, you know, but now my pay is about equal with the two, but I'm getting a lot of cancellations. And I just remember what it was I was going to talk about. People always ask me, how do you work the 2 apps at the same time? And it's constantly changing. At first, I was just accepting everything. So it didn't matter who sent the request first. Whoever sent it first, I would accept that and then go to the other one and not accept it or, you know, turn it off. And if I happen to get 2 at the same time, with whoever got the one first, then I would do that. All right. Then I got to the point where it was I stopped accepting UberPOOL. So, you know, my acceptance rate got a little messed up with that. But I would just say decline, no thank you, for UberPOOL. And if I got an Uber regular ride first before a Lyft ride, then I would accept that, and I would, you know, decline the Lyft line or the Lyft, whichever one it was. I would decline that one and just take the Uber. And once I started getting more and more Lyft and less and less Uber, and it started evening out, I kind of stopped accepting Uber. If I got 2 at the same time, I would decline the Uber and accept the Lyft and move on from there. Well, now Lyft is canceling on me. I mean, I don't know. What did I do to you, Lyft? Why are you bending me over like this? I like some candles, you know, soft music. You know what I'm saying? Get a little grease out. But why are you doing this? So what I do now is, if I get if I get an Uber request, that's an Uber X. If it's a pool, I'm not accepting it. But if it's a regular Uber, I'm accepting it and I'm turning off the Lyft app. If I get a Lyft request, whether it's shared or regular Lyft, I'm leaving the Uber app on. And I'm heading over to my passenger. Chances are, once I stop at a light, the Lyft will cancel. In which case I haven't lost anything with the Uber. So they've still got me on track. If I happen to get a request, which it hasn't happened yet, but if I happen to get an Uber request, what I will do is accept it, and then once I get to the passenger's destination and say that I'm here for Lyft, then I'll cancel the Uber. But only until I get to that point where they're not going to cancel on me will I turn off the Uber app. Now, so far, it's worked out that since I've kept the Uber app on, Lyft hasn't canceled. They haven't canceled since then, and it's been about a week, so I'm still in the very new stages. But I'm still leaving both apps on when I get a Lyft request. I'll accept the Lyft request, I'll head to the destination, I'll keep the Uber app on. And Lyft so far has only canceled on me once since I started doing that, even though I was stopped at a light. So I'm thinking they're checking my phone to see what's going on and seeing what I'm doing. But I'm doing this, Lyft, because of what you're doing to me. So that's that. Now, I used to say, check the links down below if you want to make some extra money. And I'm not going to say that. The links are down below. If you want to make extra money, you can with these guys, with Lyft. You don't have a boss, so it's pretty cool. What I want to focus on instead is if you have a business, if you're a real estate agent, if you're selling insurance, whatever it is you're doing, if you have a business, right, I would recommend downloading the app. Now, if your business is nonstop, you don't have any worries to worry about, then don't worry about this. But if you want to drum up some business, this is a good way to hand out business cards. People quite often ask me, is this what you do full time? And I tell them, yeah. I also tell them I'm working on a YouTube channel and 2 other YouTube channels. But I tell them, yes, this is it. I'm working on other things to get out of it, but I'm not there yet. So if you want to check out my YouTube channel here, and I give them the information for that. Most of them don't. Some do, but most of them don't. But in any case, if you have a business, that you're working for yourself, this is a way to drum up business. Either before your business or after your business or between, whatever you want to do. Just go out and pick up a few rides, hand out your business cards. You should, in a couple of months, see your business pick up because you're getting your business card out there to people. So anyway, that's what I want to say. So use the links down below and get your business going. Anyway, this is Scott Rideshare. Thank you for watching. If you did like it, please like, subscribe, share. You could also comment down below. I'd love to hear comments on it. And I hope you have a great day. Take care.